Welcome everyone to another episode of Big Brain MMA Podcast, episode 15, doing the pay-per-view. Got my boy ScrapCapper back on again. It's been a while. Last time he was on, we did really good on that European card. Not European card, sorry, I was in Europe, but it was that Ortega Rodriguez card. We both had a favorite bet on Simone, underdog, hit quite easily, tons of value. And then my second favorite was Leach, and whatever your second favorite was, I think it was what's his name, Jacoby. Both hit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, both hit quite easily. So hopefully we can replicate something like that again. I'll quickly mention the competition. The the best bet competition is back. It's $50 now because obviously I'm gonna go broke if I keep giving away $100 every single week. So $50, just leave your best bet. It has to be better than minus $200.50 in the comments. You have to be subscribed. You can't edit your comments. Same odds, whichever bet has more value. If we can't gather which bet has more value, then whoever posted the comment first. So yeah, but do that again and get an easy $50. Other than that, you had a really good week last week, man. I think you smashed 20 plus units or something.
Yep. Yeah. It was good weekend between the Bellator, PFL, and UFC, and I can't even remember. There's probably something else on as well. But good weekend. So it's nice to string a few decent weeks together after like a couple rough months earlier this year.
That's good, man. It was very, very sharp card for you. I lost like $250, like a quarter unit, but I was
peanuts for you, mate.
Oh, was that? Yeah. I mean, that's my first loss this month, so I'm happy with that. I wouldn't have even lost that either. I would have checked a massive live bet on Vera and would have been up, maybe $500. But I was with my missus having breakfast for her birthday, so I was like, you know what, first week back from Europe, I'm just gonna take this one off as well, and hopefully we have a good night, good betting card today. Finally back, I can live bet and everything. So let's get into it. First fight on the card, we got Altamirano versus Silva. You got anything here?
Yeah, I like Altamirano here. I understand it's not the most attractive price to pay on a guy who's got a lot of holes, but for me, Loosa is just nowhere near close to UFC level. At flyweight, you just can't be, a guy with a round to 7 minutes of cardio. You just an early finish reliant flyweight just isn't someone who's going to have a lot of success in the UFC. I think, Loosa or Silva needs an early sub, or he's going to die because Altamirano just goes at a rapid pace, cards at altitude. So he does have a shot early. Altamirano does give his back, is not hard to take down. So De Silva could take his back and sub him early. But I think outside of that, he's probably drawing pretty dead because Altamirano's volume, pace, he kicks the body a lot. He doesn't stop working on bottom, he can strike off his back. He does look at the sweeps, all that sort of stuff. So I do favor him to really, really take over past that first round, 7 minutes. I think minus 150 is fine for me. Personally, I'm just super, super low on De Silva. I don't think he's UFC level, and I don't think he's going to win UFC fights unless he's just catching guys early. He's a meme fighter for me. He could improve, but there hasn't been enough time for me to think that he's gonna have much to offer outside of an early finish here against Altamirano. So I think he's playable. Minus 150 money line, 2-3 props, whatever. Those late variants could be sub or TKO though, so I wouldn't get too cute there because we saw how bad Loosa died versus Molina. That's my thoughts basically.
Kind of echo similar sentiments. Altamirano's never impressed me, so it's a bit hard for me to lay this price. It's kind of like I don't want to play it, and then I think there is a possibility, like you said, for him to cop a finish. He has been submitted a bunch of times before. It seems to be his weakness. Maybe he's improved it, but even on LFA, he's not fighting really good guys whatsoever, and there's still, the takedown defense is horrendous. Silva will take him down if he wants to. We've seen him get a nice blast double on Figgy and Molina. You know, he's just he's an explosive kid. You know, with the power and with the grappling, he just seems flaky and falls apart. But I thought about the under here. You know, 2.5 rounds. It's better than minus 200, and like you said, it's slight elevation. You got 2.5 rounds, and this kid's never been in the third. I honestly, one of my biggest regrets is I was looking at that under 1.5 against Figgy. I was paying $3, and I was like, well, I don't know. Figgy is he's a decision machine. And then he just gets 30 seconds in, just an instant knee bar. And I was like, oh man, if I knew this kid was that much of a flake, yeah, that line had a giant, like, massive value. I reckon maybe fight ends in sub or Altamirano by sub, because I hate his lack of power. He's just almost, like you said, he's very kick heavy. I don't think Silva's going to fold over from a body kick or something. Maybe he will. Who knows? I've been surprised before by his flakiness. But even Molina, when he dropped him with a perfect punch and then just needed a bunch of ground and pound to finish him. I don't know. Altamirano is just, he clinches up himself and he just seems like a massive decision machine, which I reckon that might be a risk for your under. But I reckon if he's going to get it, it's a sub, you know. Maybe cops another takedown and then he's got a few subs off his back. He's a brown belt or a black belt. He could get Silva that way. So maybe Altamirano sub. I haven't looked at the props yet. That could be a nice stab.
That's a good angle. I like that ends by sub. I think Altamirano sub is out there. Oh, wow, it's terrible. You're looking at like plus 200, plus 230. It's pretty rough. I'd rather go with the 2-3 props.
Oh, yeah. That's disappointing. Yeah, I'll still look at some angles. There's got to be angles here. You know, this could be one of those hindsight. We don't want to play the under 2.5. And then again, he ends in 30 seconds. And it's like, oh, damn. Easy money left on the table. But
for me, the money line's all right at minus 150. Like, I'm not going to get too cute. That's 60% implied, and I can't give Lacerda 40% personally.
Yeah. I reckon, like, if he does get in bad spots like Molina and stuff, he probably just gets out of it, and then it's his fight to lose. I mean, he's recently had some good level of competition, like Hernandez and whatnot, and that went to split decision. So, he probably beats him.
Lacerda's never beat anyone good. Like we were saying, like Altamirano wasn't fighting good guys in LFA, but man, Lacerda's regional tape, like he's fighting bottom of the barrel bums, you know.
Yeah, he is running through them though.
Yeah, it doesn't mean much though, right? Like because that just then he thinks he comes to the UFC and he thinks he's going to do the same thing versus a UFC fighter and spends all his gassing around, and then he's completely out of ideas and out of gas.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still nothing on this fight. I'm kind of approaching with caution. But yeah, there's gonna be some finish plays in there. But yeah, there's definitely plays on this card. Or maybe even like a lot of money seems to be coming on the Silva, so no rush. I'll play him a bit closer to the card that day. All right, what do we got next? Aori versus Perrin. I've got a play here, so I'll go first if you don't mind.
Yep.
I thought it was crazy wide at first glance, and then I started taping it. I remember I've taped Aori very, very deep in his fight against Cody Durden. I was finding all his Chinese regional tape where he was grappling, and that line, it was a very popular pick on Cody at Pick'em because everyone thought he had a grappling advantage. And then he ended up being a massive favorite. And Aori was a dog, and I just hit him as a dog. I thought he was going to get wrestled early, and then Durden was going to gas and probably get knocked out later on. And after round 2, I thought I was a genius. And then Aori was just like, it was a massive, giant favorite on the live line. And then he just, in round 3, just pressured with his hands down. He gassed out himself and just gave it up to a corpse of Durden just by eating shots with his face and just giving up, a slight takedown near the end. I was like, man, you had that fight in the bag, and you just plodded forward and didn't throw any volume, and you got to have struck by a gas fighter. So Aori is very physical. He is hard to take down. He goes for his own takedowns. I mean, he took Cody down. He stood up every time. He took Molina down. He's physical, but he's moving up now. He's moved up to bantamweight. I don't know how he's going to fight there. We haven't seen anything like Cameron Else. That was a nothing fight. That was just a layup. So I don't know how his cardio is, if it's going to be as bad as Durden fight. It could be. I think his power is a bit overrated. He's got a lot of decision wins on the regionals against not so good fighters. Yeah, he hits hard, but I don't think his power is going to translate at bantamweight. It's going to be even less powerful potentially. Perrin, taping Perrin, you kind of go, this guy's so underwhelming, not good at anything. But when you get to his last few fights, he seems to be improving. He's not even 30 yet. He's in his prime. That Batista fight impressed me on short notice. Landed a few good shots, got a takedown. I was like, what? This guy's probably improving. Even though he's not that impressive and he's not good at everything, he's got cardio. He will constantly shoot for takedowns. He's got volume. His striking is serviceable. I mean, Aori is hittable. It doesn't have to be amazing. Slight altitude. I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. It wouldn't be a massive bet, but I got the early line. I got 250. Now it's coming a lot. So at first I was like, I don't know. I don't like this. Perrin leaves a lot to be desired. He's probably going to be taken down himself. He gets taken down and reversed a lot by bums on the regionals, but then it's like, okay, yeah, even if he gets taken down by Aori, this more often than not, this goes to a decision. And, a guy with better cardio, consistently wrestles at high altitude, durable as well. Aori's not knocking him out. I mean, it's going to look like another Cody Durden fight, and that was pick'em, right? And for some reason, Aori's a massive favorite. I just think the public thinks he's going to run through him like he ran through Cameron Ellis, but they might not know how much of a bum Cameron Ellis is. So easy play for me. Might only be half a unit, only because, like I said, Perrin leaves a lot to be desired, just with his wrestling and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of like I'm picking him to out grit, out cardio, out volume. Maybe the fighter that's a bit better technically. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, man, I'm the same. I'm on Perrin. I got 245, so just slightly worse than you, and then a bit on the decision at like $4 plus 300. Yeah, I just agree with most of what you said, man. He's pretty well-rounded. He's gritty. He'll stay in there for 3 rounds and give himself chances to win by throwing and shooting takedowns. Yeah, some concerns, right? He hasn't looked great. Both guys, can have stuff done to them. Both guys can be taken down, reversed. Both guys can be hit. But yeah, I just thought that line was way too wide. I line it like basically a pick'em fight, more or less. So I thought there was plenty of value there. I think Aori's giving up like a lot of his best attributes moving up. His edges were like size and being mutantly durable. And he might be sacrificing those coming up to bantamweight. I don't expect, like, Perrin's not a huge hitter or anything. I don't expect him to like nuke Aori, but it's just hard to cover favorite price tags, right? When you just absorb as many strikes as he does, and he can be taken down. I bet against both these guys, like I bet Durden over Aori. Probably got a bit lucky there, but then backed Aori over Else, as anyone like with a brain probably did. And then I bet Bautista over Perrin. So I feel like I have like a reasonable read on both guys. And yeah, agree with you, like not massive conviction in a guy like Jay Perrin, but for sure I thought those early odds were pretty wide, and I expect like a competitive decision here.
Yep, looks like we both agree on the same page. All right, let's move on. We got Albazi versus Big Fig. I'll try to keep it short. I mean, I taped it quickly just to see a little bit of a avenue to play this card. At first, initial thought was, Albazi's going to decide. It is a bit wide, but I don't see how he loses his fight. Figgy is like his brother, minus the power, minus the dangerous submissions, and his cardio sucks too. So it's like, Albazi actually impressed me with his striking. He's got good striking, good footwork. He's got a nice calf kick, 1-2. Figgy fights with his hands down. He seems to have decent takedown defense against the cage, but if you get him in the middle center of the octagon, he's down on his ass. He also does stupid stuff like go for the knee bars. I don't think he's going to stop doing that because it worked in his last fight. So he's probably going to keep hunting for that. I mean, is there a world out there where he accidentally catches Albazi? I don't think so. I know Albazi's a purple belt, but tape-wise, you can see that he's very high-level jiu-jitsu. I mean, unanimous decisioning Zalgas is better than, and even taking him down, who's got very good wrestling, is, I mean, it's a lot more impressive. Even if he hasn't fought in a while, he's not in his prime yet. I just think it's his fight to lose everywhere. Stand up, he's got the cardio, takedown. I just can't decide whether he's going to grind him out to a decision, because Figgy does seem very durable, and he's only been submitted once with I'll tell you right now, a katagame, which I had to Google that. I think it's a technical name for an arm triangle or a scarf hold.
It's just Japanese for arm triangle.
Yeah.
Scarf hold is kiza, arm triangle is kata.
Yeah, so he got submitted by that, but that was years and years ago. When was it? 2012 by Luis Nogueira, who is a pretty good fighter, actually. So I can't decide whether he's going to sub him or not. He's a good back taker, Albazi. But I could maybe see him just having the back and just sitting there, and Figgy defending. So maybe round 3 a decision. But yeah, it's Albazi's fight to lose. What about you?
Yeah, I agree, man. Obviously, money line's not really touchable. I just Figueiredo's only chance is to knock him out with one big shot, right? Because he's pretty low volume. He only really throws one at a time. Albazi, I expect a minute win everywhere. He'll push forward. He's got good pressure on the feet. Some nice calf kicks, and his hands have improved a lot. And I expect him to mix in the takedowns, and he's got a really nice top game. Not much ground and pound. He mainly plays like a jiu-jitsu game on top, but that's fine because he'll be able to control Figueiredo, stay on top, thread in some submissions. So I think it's pretty likely he can probably find a submission in rounds 2 or 3. Figueiredo's another guy with a bad gas tank, so the altitude's not going to help him. And he's got pretty terrible get-ups, especially out in open space. Albazi's really good at passing the guard. One of the good things about not really focusing on ground and pound is he does just really focus on improving his position on the mat. So we saw him slicing through Zalgas and Malcolm Gordon's guards pretty easily. Figueiredo, like you said, does the dumb stuff. He'll go for leg locks, which is just going to make it easier for Albazi to capitalize and get better positions. So I'd expect Albazi to probably finish him on the mat in rounds 2 or 3. But you never know. Figueiredo could just randomly be super negative, just close the guard and stall out. So for that reason, I've just gone with the Albazi, the points handicap. I got minus 155, which is $1.65, I think, or something like that. Because pretty much Figueiredo, if he wins, he's going to be losing up until that point, I think. I expect Albazi to pretty much dominate minutes and then, either win by finishing him on the mat or maybe Figueiredo randomly bonks him. But I like playing the points handicaps in these spots where I'm if this guy is going to lose, I'm pretty confident he's at least going to win every minute, and it's going to be one of those just guy finds a finish out of nowhere. And especially looking at the money line and how that's priced, I was pretty happy to play that. I have a hard time seeing Figueiredo winning a round unless he's scoring knockdowns in the last minute or something low percentage like that. But agree with what you said.
That's a good line, man, and a good bet.
I
where can you get? Do you reckon? Is there one of the Aussie bookies where I can get? I've never been able to get points handicaps on any of the Aussie bookies.
Nah, man, I think only Bet Online do them. There might be some other books, but I'm not aware of any others, and definitely not any in our part of the world. Yeah,
that's a very good bet. I like that. That should be minus 200, if not worse, to be honest. Worst case, I could see a 30-27 here. I don't even know how Figgy wins one round. But anyway, let's move on. Next fight, we got AJ Fletcher versus Loosa. How do you break down this one?
It's a pretty interesting fight. Two guys who are quite opposites. Fletcher's pretty, he'll stare into the volatility, right? He'll go for things. He's pretty dangerous, as we saw in the Simmelsberger fight. He can crack a bit. He can wrestle. Top game is okay. Still pretty green though, obviously, and that plays into some of the issues he has with his pacing and his game plan sometimes. We saw him probably spend a bit too much energy there, gas out, and that's why he ended up losing that decision to another pretty green fighter in Simmelsberger. Loosa, he's a lot steadier, but also probably he's a higher floor, lower ceiling kind of guy. He just very much is what he is, a low medium tempo striker with some okay grappling. Loosa's he can fight guys at this level pretty close. He's never gonna lose by a huge margin, but he's never going to win by a huge margin either. So yeah, I'm expecting a competitive fight where Fletcher probably has some success early because he's probably going to be land a bit on Loosa. Loosa's defense is pretty good. Like, he's there, like, you can hit him, but it's mostly going to be on the guard, you know. And then Fletcher may be able to hit some takedowns early as well. But past that, like, Loosa will stay around, you know. He's not going to go away easily. And he has a chance to come back into the fight, I think, in the second half if he's willing to, you know, bite down a bit and put some volume on Fletcher, who can be hit. He'll have a big reach advantage. Fletcher's got a tiny reach. So if Loosa can sort of leverage that and, you know, get some volume going on the feet, I think he's got a good chance to win. So for me, I got some of the early over 2.5 at like -130. Yeah, bit of a like polarizing look because Fletcher's generally pretty conducive to unders, but I think Loosa's pretty conducive to overs. So I'm pretty much banking on Loosa's kind of like, you know, habit of having just pretty low, medium tempo fights. Fletcher, I don't think, can push the pace for the whole 3 rounds. And maybe, you never know, we might see him, you know, come out a little bit more measured after losing that fight from gassing against Semmelsberger. So I got that over at -130. And then I took a little bit of a looser decision. I think I got like a 375 or 385, something like that. Small play on looser decision, and then I'll be looking to add to his money line live, obviously, if things start playing out, you know, looking like they're going all right for him. So yeah, those are the angles I like for this one. Fletcher, for me, he's not a guy I look to bet as a favorite, you know. Can't trust the IQ, can't trust the gas tank, can't trust the game plan, you know. Loosa, a bit of an underwhelming guy, but he's serviceable everywhere, and, you know, he's capable of going 3 rounds and he can compete in all areas of the fight. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, nice. So you broke it down pretty well from the first line. Yeah. I initially taped his first. I thought one of the first fights. I thought there's got to be some value on Loosa here. I mean, Fletcher dropped the ball against Semmelsberger, who I've been saying Semmelsberger's overrated for a bit now. We saw Moreno just, you know, show him the tour of the octagon as a big underdog. If that 1-2 can't get going and can't get that physicality going, you know, he's a big brute with power. I honestly thought he was going to do the same to Fletcher as well, just land a 1-2. I think Semmelsberger had even bigger reach than Loosa, and he just couldn't. I don't know. He just couldn't land the clean 1-2. There's a lot of similarities here. I think both physical, athletic, both good footwork. They both seem to be durable. I've seen AJ eat a few shots from Semmelsberger, and he handled it fine. I had a lot of questions about him, obviously, because he was running through bums in the regionals, and he's a young kid, and how's he going to do with a bit of adversity? He slowed down a bit, yeah, against Semmelsberger, but again, I still got questions. I don't know if that was jitters, and, you know, a lot of these kids, once they have their first UFC fight under the belt, they come a bit better in the second fight, and their cardio is a bit better, and their nerves are a bit better, and they perform. Loosa left me with a bit to be desired after his tape. You know, it's funny, in his earlier career, he used to run through everyone in round 1. He used to be super aggressive, or gas and then lose a split and just throw nothing in the third. And then he took a 2.5-year layoff and came back against Jack Della on Contender, and he was a much better fighter. You know, he was still throwing in the third, wobbling, you know, landing straight shots on Jack and having the cardio to go for takedowns. So it's quite improved ever since he's gone to Killcliff or Sanford. But now he's just measured over 3 rounds, and he just doesn't put stamps on any of the 3 rounds. And it's like, you know, even if he has value here, I could see him losing every round to AJ, who actually has a lot bigger moments. You know, AJ's opposite. Everything is an explosive takedown or a big flying knee or a big kick. They both do leg kicks. They're both exploding with punches. Both cover up. You can always rely on AJ to go for a reactive double when he gets pressured. Loosa's reactive wrestling is not the greatest, but we've seen him wrestle John Howard before he got into the UFC, but that means nothing. But he's very hard to take down. He's very hard to hold down Loosa. Very explosive, and his cardio has improved. So it's just the way I see this fight. I don't know, something stopping me on Loosa because I think early AJ is going to have all the big moments. If he wants to take down, he can get it, I feel. Loosa will probably get up straight away. AJ also has better jiu-jitsu. And then even if he gets in the third round and AJ is gassed, I mean, AJ was still fighting for the money against Semmelsberger. It's just Semmelsberger had the awareness to mix it up and get his own takedown, and then AJ couldn't get up off the ground and lost the fight clearly like that. But he's got dog in him, and it's just like, it's one of those fights I feel like, yeah, Loosa will keep it competitive and look like massive value, but I wish he would instill more confidence in me, stealing rounds. I wish he would do more. But I always have it in the back of my head, only just recently when I started taping every single fight, like if I have time, you never know. Some of the old tape comes to light again. So I'm always curious, is Loosa just going to come out really aggressive in round one like back in the day? Because he's sick of losing all these decisions, to Lazez and Jack and whatnot. But the other thing is when he loses at 30-27. So he's keeping it competitive. He's hard to finish, but he just loses. He loses every single round. I don't know. This probably should be a pick'em. Should be a pick'em, if not, AJ a slight favorite because of the youth and those big moments, and he seems to be a lot better in aspects, and he will do more. But yeah, over just scares me, like you said, two young explosive dudes. I don't have the line that's as good as yours, so I try not to force these things. But yeah, Loosa by decision. A little tiny sprinkle is probably the best thing, honestly, or even live bet. Might just live bet it. See. You get some more answers on AJ. Does he gas every single time after round one, or was that just in his debut? And see how Loosa's going, if he's going to give out a bit more output. And then also AJ struggled to get off his back against Semmelsberger, and we'll see if that's the same with Loosa. Loosa will probably wrestle.
Yeah, I think that live angle is good. Live angle, obviously, if AJ slows down, but if you can if you can live bet like GTDs, like I think obviously finishing this fight is pretty like Fletcher front loaded.
Yeah, I don't, and it wouldn't even be like live bet after round one. It would be like round bet after round two, because only if it's 1-1 going into the third. Because I could easily see semi-gassed AJ taking the second as well. He took down Semmelsberger and he was on top for the first half, and luckily he fell off the back and ended up on bottom, and Semmelsberger stole it. So, he easily could have won that 2 rounds to 3. It's just Semmelsberger had more dog in him. But yeah, tough fight. End of the day, probably the value is probably on Loosa, but he's durable. I don't think he's going to get finished, but it doesn't put much confidence in him. Maybe a decision sprinkle reduces my risk, and I'm still on the dog, and then the rest just live bet. We seem to agree on everything. Next fight, Maverick versus Young. You got a giant breakdown for this one?
No. Stupid price, just because women's MMA, dumb price. Obviously, I'm not interested in betting Shanna Young. I do think Maverick wins, and she should win quite easily. But if you're betting minus 600 on Miranda Maverick, get help. If she grapples, she can honestly maybe cover the line. But Miranda Maverick is a fighter who could just randomly come out and decide she wants to kickbox for 3 rounds. So yeah, on the money line side, I have no interest. I got a little bit of Maverick KO at plus 900 because if she grapples, she might be able to find that positional TKO. Obviously, Young had some pretty bad reactions to Eggers ground and pound. And in their first fight, obviously, Miranda flattened her out from the back and finished her. Could end up just being a TKO this time. So, yeah, bit of obviously, that you can see what the UFC is trying to do with this matchup, trying to push Maverick. But, yeah, I don't see any way to play the fight in terms of, totals, GTDs, money lines. I'll just take it a little shot at Maverick KO plus 900.
Yeah, that's probably some value there. For me, this is an easy pass. I quickly had a little bit of tape. The first fight, Maverick obviously looked a lot better outside of the UFC. I know she's fighting better competition, but she still had good competition on the regionals. Bennett and Pearl Gonzalez and Young back then. I think Young is kind of weird thing to say about an older fighter. I think Young is improving quite a bit. I think she's taken her career seriously. She's had her baby, and now she seems a lot more jacked. She's dropped down from bantamweight. She stuffed every single one of Mazzani's takedowns in the first round. And yeah, it's Gina Mazzani. You know, I've hated her there, but she is a good wrestler, especially when fresh. She'll take anyone down. You know, she's very good at that weight class. And Young stuffed every single one. And then yeah, she got reversed in the second, but then got on top and finished her. So I think she has the physicality. I know everyone creams over Maverick's muscles and how physical she is, but I thought she was overrated from day one. Whenever since I seen her get that jamming KO over Jojua and just eating shots clean on her face, I was like, man, this girl's she's very green. She's still very green. And, you know, from fighting her against Aaron and, you know, passing on her against Barber because I just didn't have any confidence at that favorite line is just, yeah, she's very overrated. Even Marzo, like she should have got rid of Marzo in round 1, not round 2. Marzo is actually not like Young. She's not physical and she doesn't have a good ground game. You know, Davis looked like Khabib against her. She should have ran through her much earlier if she's, you know, that kind of phenom. But yeah, it's just absolutely zero value for me. I don't see her taking down Young and running through her. I think Young's improved a lot. I think she might stuff a few. And then you get a low women's MMA striking battle. Jesus, like, who the hell wins that, you know? I don't know. Maybe I taped it too quick, but I just had this little feeling that maybe Young has some value. Not that I'm running to play it. This is an easy fight just to watch. I reckon this could be a fight where Young edges out rounds, and the live line is still in favor of Maverick because, you know, when they're a massive favorite and nothing crazy happens in the fight, they stay a massive favorite, pretty much till a decision.
Yeah, like GM3 last week, winning 2 rounds and being pick'em.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not even that. Like even like Kish over Lima Lay. She won 2 rounds over Lima Lay.
Yeah.
Bellator, and she's still like a $3 something underdog. It's like, I thought it was a glitch. I thought it was going to be one of those voided bets, but no, they paid out. I was like, yeah, who knows? But yeah, nothing here I like. Maybe the sub prop. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't really.
It's
I haven't
bad,
seen it.
man. It's very bad.
Well, there you go. You're giving me all the answers I need. Some people are on the under at 2 plus money. Well, I don't know. Like I said, it's just she made a meal out of the Mazzano fight.
Yeah, Maverick doesn't have like a super like coherent, slick like submission game or anything like that either. You know, like Mazzo just fucking useless. Young, not a great bottom game either. But like, man, I'm not interested in playing like unders at evens or Maverick sub at like plus 160, plus 170. That's awful to me.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're on the same page, so let's move on. Let me just address this one comment from Mr. Bruce. Time for our analyst to become a ring girl, hot piece of ass. Yeah, look, maybe a couple more fights to fade her and make some money. That line was ridiculous. That one cut deep. I was telling everyone that Cachoeira was value even before the whole rubbish with COVID, so that one hurt a bit.
Just do Lipski Mazzani. Do that one.
Oh, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah, let's do that.
Flakes. Who's gonna guess? Oh, Mazzani would be a good play there, actually. Absolutely break her in the first round with one takedown.
Yeah, but then does Mazzani gas out from lying in the guard for a round?
Yeah, but you know, one takedown against Lipski and she's gone, man. She can't even handle 5 minutes on the ground.
Fascinating fight.
Yeah, should I get on the phone to the matchmakers?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree, but not yet. Maybe give a couple more fights for me to fade her, and then we can have her as a ring girl. But Brooklyn Rent, no one can top Brooklyn Rent anyway. So, all right. Sean Woodson versus Saldana. Anything here, mate?
Yeah, I think line's pretty accurate. You know, I think Woodson's going to own him. Saldana sucks. He's just spams a southpaw body kick with no setup. His boxing's terrible. He's wild. Absolutely insanely bad cardio for like a skinny featherweight. Like I just can't comprehend how his cardio is so bad, especially when he seems to get tired from like doing nothing. He's not grappling hard or anything. He's just doing laps of the cage, throwing naked body kicks, and all of a sudden he's got his hands on his knees. So yeah, I mean, going up against Woodson, who's a longer guy, so negates, like Saldana relies on his length and those kicks to kind of try and manage the tempo and keep the fight at his preferred range. That's going to be tough for him against Woodson, who's built like something out of a horror movie. Woodson will pressure, he'll throw volume, he'll hit the body. His boxing, like the boxing difference is just absolutely insane. Saldana's going to try and throw a body kick to keep him away. Woodson will take it on the guard and counter with combinations, finishing to the body. And for me, unless Saldana just Hail Marys the KO early on, like I think he is just going to absolutely melt. So to be honest, I think there could be value still on the money line. Like I don't usually say that about like big juice prices, but I think that's the case here. Woodson ITD, Woodson, 2-3 round props, but he could just finish him early like he did with Anglin. Saldana is just terrible, man. Like he lost to Bruno Souza and he's had his hands on his knees in the third round of that fight. Just the guy's disgraceful. Like he's just got such a shallow game, and as soon as Woodson gets inside that kicking range, he's just going to freak, gas out, have no idea what to do. And I think Woodson's pretty automatic in this spot. So I'm fine with using him as a parlay piece. I like him inside the distance. I like the round 2-3 props. Saldana, just gigantic fade for me.
Yeah. I mean, can't add too much to that. I've been trying to fade him every single fight minus his last fight because I thought that last one was going to be pick'em. Just the line was pretty accurate. Robbed me of my bet against Griffin. Can't believe he won that fight. And then faded him against Lingo, who Lingo took an absolute beating. That's the only thing I have, only reservation I have here. He is a somewhat sharp and technical kicker early, and he's an explosive. I don't know. I can't, from memory, like I said, I didn't want to invest too much time taping this fight. I'm trying not to get burnt out since I've come back. But from memory, I haven't seen anyone kick Woodson's legs as hard as Saldana will. I mean, I'm just erring on the side of caution. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing him check leg kicks quite nicely. He's a very technical, fluid striker, Sean. He throws quite a bit himself. I was expecting to see Zalal calf kick him a bit, but man, Zalal was just crotch sniffer mode in that fight for all 3 rounds. Probably would have given himself a better chance if he didn't crotch sniff so bad, considering how bad his wrestling is. It's Saldana hates pressure. He's going to start falling apart. There's nothing scarier than someone like Woodson pressuring you with those giant hands and slender man appearance. Just you see, even Colin Anglin, I thought is a durable fighter on Contender Series as massive underdog. He won against that explosive striker. I put a little sprinkle on him, and he seemed durable, like he had heart. And Sean just ran through him with punches that didn't even look like he was throwing hard. It was all just technique and pitter patter, like it was.
He just overwhelms you, man. He just drowns guys.
Just like touch to the body, to the head, and then as I was taping, I was like, he finished him. He dropped Erosa. He should have finished. What's that guy's name that got cut? The little crazy kid that keeps coming forward. Bochniak. Some of those knees that he ate straight to the chin and didn't even react. And I was like, you know what? This the finish probably has some value. Slight altitude. He's either hurt or finished everyone in the UFC. Zalal is out of this world durability, so I'm not fussed. And he almost got a couple of guillotines on Zalal as well. I see people saying Saldana doesn't go for takedowns. He went for a few takedowns on Lingo and 3 or 4 against Silva.
He panic wrestles.
Yeah, he does. And he was panicking against the karate Bruno Silva as well, which is like, dude, that guy has no power, and he was pressuring, and he usually stays on the outside.
Dude, Bruno Silva, he can't pressure or get going on anyone, and he was just like, oh, this Saldana guy, fuck, here we go.
Like
He's not
anything. When I hit when I was taping him versus Arlinga, that was my first note. Absolutely hates pressure. He wants an outside kicking game, and he's at a massive disadvantage here. So
I bet Saldana against Souza, and I was like in disbelief in that third round. When he was like posturing and like trying to flex on him, and then he'd throw one kick and put his hands on his knees. Oh, bro, fuck. All time like lucky win there.
Lingo was even worse. Lingo got the shit kicked out of him, and I had that pre-bet as a slight dog, and I was like, dude, I thought maybe he needs a finish. And it was just like kick him to the body, like jab him to the body, and he just crumbled. He crumbled like he got hit with a liver shot.
Because his body is so soft and his cardio is so bad. Like, could you pick a worse matchup?
I can't believe he hasn't been finished. He kind of just I was like, maybe he gives me some good durability vibes, but I'm like, nah, man. Like,
No.
if there was anyone, yeah, he doesn't hit as hard as Lingo, but it's just pressure. He should drown him here. I don't even know if I want to risk round 3 or decision. Maybe round 2 is the one where he puts him out.
Dude, it could be round 1. Like, that's like, I think there's value. Oh, there might be value if you get the 2-3 together, but I'd have something just on Woodson inside the distance, man. Like, I wouldn't want to get too cute here. Like, he could just die on one body shot, man. Like, Saldana is, oof.
You know what I like? I like the under 2.5, man. It's plus money.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Money.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
Covers Saldana's kind of win condition as well.
Yeah, like Jamie leg kick or something, like perennial nerve. I mean, look at those absolute sticks of legs, man.
Yeah.
Plus money. I'm surprised by that. That's a good bet. You know what? I'm putting half a unit on that. I think it's just Saldana going to a decision in all 3 of his fights, so people think that he actually has some durability, but it's just one of those you got to tape it to see that styles make fights. Yeah, I like that, man. Talk myself into that.
He's due to not hit the cards the way he fights and just who he is.
Yeah, it could be one of those ones where he's just like running away and getting pitter patted, and I'm just like pulling my hair out. But you know, a plus money, I don't mind. I've only been hitting these props at plus money now, so I'm not going to pull my hair out as much as opposed to laying the juice and then pulling my hair out. But yeah, I think we broke down quite nice. Some options there. Let's move on. Next fight, Jared Gordon versus Santos. I think you might have a good take here. What do you got?
Yeah, just pretty insane line, to be honest. It feels like just a massive overreaction to what happened in the Clay Guida fight. Obviously, that's not a good look, but if a 40-something-year-old empties the tank for a finish in the first round, things just generally aren't going to go well for them after that. That's the way it is. And I mean, if Keith Peterson had waived that, which he easily could have and probably would have if it was pre-Dominic Cruz, Henry Cejudo, then I think we're looking at a very different line in this spot. So yeah, for me, I hopped on Leonardo Santos. I got like a 360, 370 prices. And yeah, I mean, I think he's very live to get the early finish, and then if he doesn't and he starts slowing down, you can live bet your way out of it and take some Gordon. Despite what happened in the Guida fight, if Gordon starts having success, I don't think it's going to be instant. You know, I don't think it's going to, like, in most cases, I don't think it's just turning on its head so quickly that you're not able to live bet your way out of it. It's just not who Jared Gordon is historically. You know, he's a grinder. He takes time to get his game going, and he needs to wear on guys for a bit. Santos is 42 and the cardio is obviously not great, but while he's fresh, he's still got very good takedown, very good get-ups. He'll have a striking advantage. He's got more ability to finish the fight wherever it goes. So yeah, for me, it's crazy. The line like plus 260, plus 270 was just insane. Even here above plus 200, I'm like, man, I think the chances you're able to like live bet this for a guaranteed profit is just so high. So yeah, crazy line to me. I know some people like the inside the distances and stuff like that, but man, I don't trust Jared Gordon to find a finish, you know, like, because if he's gonna finish, it's probably gonna have to be on top on the mat, and he's gonna have to finish like a guy with a very good jiu-jitsu game. And we saw what happened in that Chris Fishgold fight, man. Like, and yeah, Gordon's like, he's good in some senses, like he'll push, get taken and stuff, but he's quite easy to reverse. His control's not always the best. So for me, I think the goes and the inside the distance, not something I'm interested in. Yeah, so I'm on Santos, money line, look to flip it off live, you know, as soon as, you know, things don't start to look so good. And then I just took a little stab on his round 1 prop as well. I think I got like $10 plus 900 on that. Yeah, pretty wild line to me.
Yeah, man, 100% agree. I thought even at minus 200, this line would be crazy. I mean, Santos is one of the better guys that Gordon has faced in his last few fights. You know, I think it's definitely the overreaction of what happened in Guida. But I mean, that Guida fight, he almost got Guida out of the fight in round 1. Like, that's why he gassed. If he doesn't gas, he most likely beats Guida. I could see him beating Guida over 3 rounds. I mean, I can't even explain the line. Like you said, I think something about this. There's so many things I don't even know. I'm all over stumbling my words. I don't even know where to start. I think Gordon's a bit overrated. I used to hit him on every single fight because he was just like a cardio machine, just like an American Khabib. And then from that probably Moret fight onwards, like he had a really good war against Silva and he was rocking him, and I was like, you know what, this guy's not bad. And I hit him there against Chavez as an underdog. I was like, he actually has good striking. But then from then on, the close fight with Moret, whatever, getting knocked out by Oliveira, the Chris Fishgold performance, like Fishgold has one round of cardio and he just kind of held on to win a decision, and his cardio didn't look amazing himself there. The Chavez, yeah, he kind of brought out the better of himself in the Chavez fight, but Chavez is really bad, as we've seen in hindsight. The Joe Solecki, I had him as an underdog against Joe Solecki because of the cardio advantage, but that round 3, the cardio was on par. There was a split decision and came down to that third round. Neither guy could take, and both were like on death's legs, and he kept throwing naked leg kicks, and I'm like, dude, it's going to get caught, and you're going to end up on your back, and you're going to lose me money. Because he was so sloppy, and I was like, what happened? This is not the Jared Gordon I used to play every fight. Like, it doesn't have that cardio anymore. So I think maybe the KOs, maybe he's out of his prime. He's just taken a bit of a beating. He's not the same guy that the bookies seem to be overrating. And then when it came to the Grant Dawson fight, I've seen a lot of people take dog shots on him. I was like, I was advocating laying the juice on Dawson. I wouldn't play it myself, and I didn't. But I was like, look, he gets taken down easily. He's got average wrestling himself. He gives his back up to everyone. Dawson just backpacked him twice straight away and then submitted him in the third. And his cardio is not what it used to be. Plus he's chinny. So it's like, if he doesn't have that insane cardio and the grit like he used to, and he's got all these holes, why is he such a massive favorite over Santos? Dawson is better than Santos. Guida against Gordon, I reckon, could be a pick 'em fight. I think the cardio is on par, and I think Guida's cardio is better lately, honestly, from what I've seen. Guida's always pushing for 3. Gordon seems to be slowing that lately. Even Bogota was consistently wrestling, and he has much better wrestling than Gordon and cardio. And Santos hurt him in round 2, right? He won round 1, and then he hurt him in round 2. So that's 2 rounds in the bag, and then, whatever. He probably lost the third, but there was a million point deductions there. Grant Dawson was winning that fight on 2 scorecards. But that's, I can't believe taping that again. I don't know how he was up 2 rounds to 0. I mean, that was an easy round 1 for Santos. Round 2 was whatever. But that's Santos. That's Dawson, who has insane cardio and is a much more athletic and better wrestler. And he only just finished that with 1 second to go. Like, Santos has insane takedown defense, much better striking. Is Gordon going to outstrike him in the first? Doubt it. Maybe he grits his teeth and goes out there and says, if my chin holds up, it holds up. And then he holds up, and then he ends up cracking Santos a few times, and then the tide turns early. But if it doesn't hold up, man, he's getting knocked out. If he tries to be patient, tries to go for takedowns, Santos is stuffing him. He's got really good judo throws. He tossed Dawson a few times. He's so bad that Santos is definitely going to judo toss him. Like, for a good grappler, Jared Gordon has shit takedown defense, and he always gives his back up. And I've seen Santos take Dawson's back when he stuffed the takedown. So if he tries to grapple early, Santos can toss him on his head, grab his back, ride out round 1. That's it, round 1. He's not even gassed. He can knock him out in the second round. And like you said, he's so unimpressive recently, Gordon, that even if Santos is gassed, he might just end up on top and just sit on him in half guard. And he trickles over to a decision. He doesn't have the ground and pound like Dawson does. Hammer fist was a bit of a freak thing. So yeah, man, like he was 2-0 up against Bogotov, hurt him in the second. He should have been at least 1-1, worst case, against Dawson. That should have been a split decision. I don't know what judges were looking at in that fight. I think that's a bit of a Kraus bias. Kraus's fighters always get good scorecards for some reason. And yeah, it's just insane line. Like, Santos is the way better fighter than Gordon, in my opinion. This is all on the cardio aspect, and you can fade the cardio aspect, right? Vieira in 5 rounds, Aldo against fight in 5 rounds. There's been a lot of times you can fade the cardio aspect and win money because it's not that black and white in MMA. I do have less than a unit on Santos just because they got the names wrong on Bet365. They had Jared Gooden. So they avoided my much better line. So out of spite, I didn't want to play more money on the shitter line. So I got like half a unit to win more than a unit. I'm happy with that. I don't want to be overexposed, still to a gasser. I got a tiny sprinkle on like $90 on round 1. That's super wide. I don't know why that's so wide. He almost knocked out Guida in round 1 in his last fight. And I was getting a less durable fighter. I got the under, not even the under. I got the finish, and the finish is still plus money just in case it's, Gordon turns it on and it's like a 2-second finish again. So I would always, if you're gonna play the finish line, you get another 2.5 minutes. If it's gassy, you never know. And plus it covers Santos round 1 KO. And yeah, those are all the things I got. And I agree with you on the live bet. I might still add a little bit of a hedge on Gordon just because, again, I could see an aspect where Gordon, like I said, bites his teeth and goes out there and has a good round 1, and then the live bet is kind of out the window. He was already a $1.30 favorite, so just you got nothing there, and you just kind of have to cop a loss. But yeah, I think Santos. If I had that early line, I would just chuck a whole unit on Santos, man, and just let it roll. Let's see, let Gordon prove himself and see what he can do. But his interviews are all depressing. How MMA hasn't done anything for him, and it's ruined his life and all this shit. It was just like, yeah, cool, fade material right there, And I hate narratives. I hate narratives, but this is like the one narrative is when you see people saying shit like that in interviews, it just kind of gives you insight of where their mindset is at. And not even that, but like, there's no happy endings in MMA. So, someone's like the Walt Harris thing with the daughter, and someone's complaining in interviews, and everyone's rooting for them to have a good result, and then they just get smashed in round 1. So that's the only narrative I believe in, the cynical narrative that there's no happy endings in MMA. So this is just going towards that path. So yeah, just an insane line, man, insane line. All just hammering the cardio aspect, in my opinion. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. Hopefully we'll pick up some good cash. I'm quite invested in this one for once in my life. All right, next fight, Tybura versus Romanov. I think you got a good opinion on this one too. You go first.
Yeah, man. Another just crazy line to me, and there was just some ridiculous line movement. So I bet Tybura at 430 plus 330, and then on Bet Online he shot out another $1 to plus 440. So I had to add. So yeah, I'm fairly heavy on Tybura in this spot. Like, yeah, it seems straightforward to me. Like, for me, it's just straight, like, blind Romanov hype. People just being like, oh, Romanov's good. He's undefeated in the UFC, so he's just going to beat Tybura without actually looking at the matchup at all. Because I think if you go into the matchup at all, like, you're really struggling to get to Romanov as a favorite bigger than, like, minus 200, maybe even less. So, yeah, just crazy to me. Romanov, bad cardio, obviously can throw some okay strikes, but can't really string together like consistent minutes of striking together on the feet. And we know he's always looking for that takedown. He's dropped a whole bunch of size, which I think is negative for him, like especially with his style of wrestling. It's generally reliant on having a bit of a size advantage and physicality and throwing guys around. I guess dropping weight might help his cardio and, make him a bit quicker, which could be an advantage. But he's going to have to kind of, I guess, remodel his game a little bit to like suit that. Tybura, better striker, more proven cardio over 3 rounds, more experience, is a more than competent grappler himself. I think even if Romanov is able to get takedowns early, first thing he's going to be working, using energy at altitude, and we've seen what happens when he slows down. Quit in the Espino fight, just straight up quit job. He wanted out of there. Everyone gets even.
You're cutting out a bit. Oh, man's gone. I'm gonna boot you out, and then I'm gonna bring you back in. All right, I'm just gonna break down this fight for a while he's gone. I agree with ScrapCapper. In terms of everything, yeah, just a wide line, like I said, a better cardio, proven veteran. Yeah, he's a bit chinny, but we haven't seen Tybura's chin cracked in a bit. Yeah, he got cracked by Harris, but Romanov doesn't really have that kind of power. I mean, yeah, he's explosive, he's athletic early. I think he wins round 1. I think he gets takedowns, but yeah, most of his finishes are by ground and pound, and I had to go deep on this one. I watched the Henrique fight. Who's yes, he's not as athletic and as good a wrestler as Romanov, but he is very takedown heavy. So I agree with that. And yeah, Tybura's got good get-ups. He looks for legs. He just has good jiu-jitsu. Very good jiu-jitsu, whereas Romanov just can't control anyone. Can't control Lima, can't control Roque, Santa Cruz, can't control Jared Bandera is standing up on him. So that's the thing. And if he stands up and he gets out of round 1, I'm not even looking at that Espino fight too much. I think Espino is the better wrestler than Tybura, but Tybura struggled with every single takedown against Volkov. His best wrestler takedowns are court kicks and when he gets in on the hips against the cage, but in the middle of the octagon, it leaves a lot to be desired. He's not very athletic, so Romanov does have the athleticism advantage, and I do have questions about all the weight that he's shed. Would have been good to see that Chase Sherman fight go on a bit longer, but yeah, it's just the longer this fight goes, is Tybura always wins round 3 at a high clip. His cardio is very good. I really like his striking. He switches stances. He's very active. He's very flip-footed. Romanov just has a good body kick, and that's pretty much it. And then he just crashes distance into takedowns. I think Tybura wins round 1 at round 3 at a high clip. In the Henrique fight, he finished him off. I mean, he was on the bottom of Derek Lewis, and he was sweeping Lewis and getting underhooks. And I think Romanov wins round 1 at a high clip by maybe getting a takedown and then, grinding him up against the cage. And then round 2, I mean, if it's going to come down to round 2, you got to hit the the massive proven underdog. Like Tybura's been in this position so many times, and he's a great underdog to hit. And if he gets on top of a gas Romanov, his finishing ability, man, he gets straight to mount, gets straight to the back, ground and pound. If he smells that you're gassed, he will finish you. So yeah, he just has to survive round 1, which I think he will, unless he gets ground and pounded or unless he gets cracked with something weird. But ever since he went back to his old camp, it's almost like his chin's improved too. I don't know. He does lose. He does take a beating in the first round, but yeah, it's just a no-brainer. Also, like over 1.5 rounds. I'll see if I can get a bit of everything I just mentioned. More than likely, he goes over 1.5 rounds. Tybura just has to survive a Donkey Kong ground and pound onslaught, most likely. I don't see him finishing Romanov early. Romanov, even when gassed, he got up straight away against Ospina. So both these guys, it's going to be like a wrestling fight where both these guys get taken down and then they can stand up, and might be a bit of clinching and grinding. So if I can find a bit of a better line, $1.60, I would say $1.60 is a bit accurate. So I might look for a bit of value on other lines. But other than that, yeah, over 1.5. I might live bet Tybura. I was going to live bet Tybura just because I think he's very highly likely to lose round 1. But at these odds, I have to just put a quarter unit as well. I don't even know if after the first round, the live odds are going to be better than these currently juiced lines. So who knows? Maybe tiny sprinkle on Tybura, just out of pure value sake, and then live bet the rest and the over 1.5 rounds. So yeah, we just lost ScrapCapper. He's got some issues with the internet. I'm just having a little chat to him. I'll move on without him, but yeah, as soon as things improve a bit, I'll bring him back on. Hopefully things get better. We're having some good back and forth. All right, next fight, the people's main event. We got Harry Bumsucker versus Tyson Pedro. Oh, talk about easy matchups. Jesus, he's 2-fight win streak. It's some really, really easy opponents for Tyson Pedro. Hunsucker is he's a fast opponent. He was very explosive at heavyweight, but the problem is he has 1 or 2 punches in him, and that's it. And I don't even think it's the bad cardio. I think he's just a quitter, right? You know, one leg kick from Tybura, and that's it. You know, he's in pain and he's ready to go. You know, he will throw a few more. You know, he'll go out on his shield and then he will just fall apart. That was one of my only max bets. I really don't play max bets, but under 2.5 at like $1.30 there, it should have been like $1.15. It should have been what this fight is at, $1.15 to not go decision. I smashed that. He's dropping down. I don't know. Is he going to be less of a quitter? Probably not. Tyson Pedro, super athletic, explosive. I didn't set this fight too much. I mean, I know these guys quite well. There's not much value anywhere. The best value I could actually find, which is still a bit laughable, is fight to end in round 1 on Top Sport. It's one of the new Aussie bookies I'm using now. Quite good on the props because it's new to the market. That's always the case before it becomes more popular and people start hammering these props. Minus 200 for fight to end in round 1. Right? Covers are crazy. Onslaught by a Hunsucker. You know, Pedro gives me flaky vibes too, so I'm not. Doesn't matter how bad the opponent is, I'm not against him just getting caught. It is MMA after all. So yeah, round 1 minus 200 on Bet365. Pedro round 1 is worse than minus 200. So this is just fight to end in round 1 minus 200. I think it ends in that round at a pretty high clip. Even if Pedro doesn't take him down, submit him, or hit him on the feet, he can just beat him with leg kicks like he did to Villanelle, Ike, sorry. Yeah, he fought really patient against Ike. Really, it was frustrating. I had round 1 Pedro there as well. Had better odds, and he's just like leg kicked him, and Ike wanted out of there, and he was just so patient. I think it was just being on a layoff. But I think even if he can strike here with he can punch, he can throw leg kicks, and Hunsucker's going to look for a way out, or they're going to get into a grappling fight. It's going to be a bit of scrambles. Hunsucker's going to get gassed, you know, up on the bottom, and yeah, that's the only bit of value I see. But even that's minimal value. So Pedro round 1 most likely. Let's move on. I know from chatting to ScrapCapper that he had a tiny bit of sprinkle on Hunsucker round 1, which I did against Taffer as well. Like, you can't go wrong. Astronomical odds. I regretted that one. Maybe there's more chance, you know, at his natural weight class. Yeah. All right. Now, I said the last fight was the people's main event. This is the true people's main event. Lucy Pudilova versus Yanan Wu. Let me just see if my main ScrapCapper can come back in again. Try one more time. Actually, I'll break down this fight first. I think this fight should be lined at Pick'em. Wu Yan is coming to the UFC like 21. She's been in the UFC for 5 years now. I see improvements fight to fight. I see a lot of people say she's crap, but she is improving. She's getting more comfortable in there. She straight up won round 3 against Bruno Silva in the stand-up department, right? She straight up, she bounced around. She was in and out. She avoided Silva's punches. She hit her with hers. She had great volume. She got dropped hard in round 1. She's durable and she survived. So I'm like, damn, her boxing's not too bad. She's improving. Like, Silva's a really aggressive Muay Thai striker. She's got calf kicks. She's got power. And Wu Yan actually outstruck her. I was impressed by that. You know, not brawled, but she had feints and she was in and out, and she was cracking it with jabs and the overhands. Yes, Silva was a bit tired, but I was still impressed by that. Meanwhile, on the other side, I looked at Pudilova's fights outside of the UFC. She's the exact same fighter. She, you know, plods forward, throws 1-2s, pressures. She's still hittable. She's a junkyard dog like she always has been. You know, she will occasionally go for her own takedowns. She's still bad on her back and she can still get taken down, which is a red flag. She's just fought absolute bums in Octagon. Every single fight was a decision. She got mauled by Talita Bernardo, which is another red flag. She's beaten a 4-2 and another 4-2 by split. Then beat another Can, then lost to Bernardo, then rematched that 4-2. It was a 5-3 and gone to a split with her again, and then beat a Carol Yawiaki, who's 8-4, but it's a horrible 8-4. I looked into a record, and she was a $1.10 favorite against her, and she again went to a decision, close decision. All right, so Pudilova's not a good fighter, all right? People saying Wu's not a good fighter, but I think Wu's actually, she's making improvements, all right? She's making improvements, and she's in the UFC, and she's very young, and I have seen zero improvements from Pudilova, all right? So worst case, this fight should be a pick'em. You know, it is low-level women's MMA. I probably wouldn't. I probably would pass on something low-level like this. I remember I got forced into playing Kim against Edwards, even though I thought there was no value there. It was going to be a sweaty split, but Kim was $1.10. It was pretty much pick'em. This I got Wood $2.40, and I got limited, so I can't cash out. So I kind of have to ride it unless I put money on Pudilova. So yeah, it's a dog pass for me. Probably wouldn't play it at these odds. You know, it's pretty much pick'em now. But yeah, I think Wu, as shit as she is, she's making a lot of improvements. It could still be a split decision, right? But at $2.40, I see a lot of I see a bit of value there. I also think if anyone's going to get submitted, it's going to be Pudilova. She got put out by Valentina Shevchenko. Wu's got a armbar off her back from guard, low women's MMA. Whereas Wu has been in tight triangle and a tight armbar by Edwards and Santos, Bruno Santos. We've seen what Santos has did to Edgar, and she survived. So she's hard to submit. Yeah, she'll put herself in tough positions, but she will survive. So, yeah, clear dog pass for me. Low-level women's MMA, but I think I don't know why Pudilova is a favorite, honestly. I think just people fading Wu and Pudilova having that experience in the UFC before she got cut. But yeah, let's not talking about that shit show. Let's move on. All right, to an actual good fight now. Let me just address some comments. Good to be back, my friend. Good to be back. Don't forget to put your comment in your best bet in the comment section. All right, let's give Jamie ScrapCapper a go. Copy. It's much funner doing it with him. All right. Try again, my friend. All right. So I've sent him a link. Let's try one more time, and then if not, I'll just finish it off myself. All right. Jose Aldo versus Merab Dvalishvili. Good fight, this one. Good fight and a good step up for Merab, and a tough fight for sure, I think. Let me see what's going on here. All right, guys. All right, yeah, very, very good step up. I think this might resemble the John Dodson fight a bit. Merab is very erratic. He struggled to take, and he took Dodson down, but he couldn't hold him down, but he still won that fight in terms of, you know, holding Dodson against the cage and landing literally knees to the thigh in the first round, and, you know, Dodson doing him a favor and throwing nothing, right? You're throwing nothing and losing the fight on decision, even without being held down for a second, right? So I feel like this gives me a bit of similar vibes. Like Aldo, yes, he might be able to get taken down. I'm seeing him get taken down a lot recently. You know, he does have legendary takedown defense, but people like Marlon Moraes judo throwing him, and, you know, Peter Yan, even before he was gassed. Rob Font took him down. He's still got the strong explosive hips, but he does get up, but it's not as super explosive as it was with featherweight. Like, you know, his butt touches the ground and he just shoots up, and he literally throws you with his hips, how strong they are, and a wizard. You know, but I think he's still quite good at getting up and whatnot. So I think Merab probably can take him down and lift him up and slam him, and then Aldo will just pop straight back up. But, you know, the inactivity against the cage against Volkanovski, and, you know, the inactivity against Marlon Vera held him against the cage for a while. And it's just, you know, it's just Aldo. Aldo's always been inactive, you know, just doing absolutely nothing for 5 minutes against Font, and just hurting him in end of every single round, right? Font's trademark. But yeah, I don't think Merab is as chinny as Font, but he is very erratic and he's very hittable. I mean, Dodson could have made that fight much closer than it was, because his chin's there, and Merab just he always bounces around a lot, and he comes in with his hands low, and he just throws wide hooks. And he got wobbled by Stamen by a jab in round 1, right? I had money on Merab there just because I thought he was going to out-hustle him, and Stamen has no power, so even though there wasn't much value, it was still going to be a clear decision win for him. And he made me sweat. He got taken down by Stamen. I think he has holes. His only advantage is his grit, heart, and cardio and insane relentless wrestling, but he has a lot of holes. He can't hold anyone down, no submission threat, not much power, hittable, erratic. I don't know about his IQ either. So he has a lot of holes, and he's coming against the veteran who I think, like I said, it's going to be like the Dodson fight, but Aldo is probably going to throw more. He's definitely not as low output as Dodson, and when he hits you, he's going to take the center of the octagon, and he's going to wait for Merab to come in, and he's going to look to counter him. And Marlon Moraes countered Merab hard, almost knocked him out. He does have ungodly chin and heart to recover there. But if Aldo can stick in the center and just wait to hit him once or twice and dig to the body and throw leg kicks and stand up straight away and not spend too much time against the cage, just eating foot stomps and whatnot, I think he's got a very good shot here. This is a big step up for Merab, but then a slight elevation as well. I don't know. I think at Pick'em this fight is accurate at Pick'em, but I also keep going back and forth. I can see Merab being a slight favorite because of the cardio elevation and things like having that grit and holding someone up against the cage and throwing constant volume. And I can also see Aldo being the favorite just from being explosive and hard to hold down and stealing rounds with the 1-2, being much better at striking and having much less holes. So it's hard. I keep tossing back and forth. I am going to say, if you are going to play Merab, play him by decision. I don't see a world where he finishes Aldo. Aldo also stands there and hits shots on his head because he's so durable. Like, he took a lot of volume right to his face from Font, but he didn't get cut up or anything. He's just very durable. But that's the thing. He's losing rounds like that. He just looks for the counter. So it's a very tough fight to call. I mean, if this keeps getting wide, a bit more money came in on Merab. Maybe you can advocate Aldo shot and then look to live bet Merab if Aldo kind of gets tired from all the grinding and whatnot. Personally, I think I'm just gonna live bet it. I'm flip-flopping with it back and forth, so I can't have a strong lean, and I don't like to play fights where I don't have a strong lean. So yeah, very good fight, good step up. I think hindsight, both these guys could look quite big favorites. Aldo could just drop and piece him up, kind of like the Pedro Munoz fight. Just have a clear veteran's performance, and on the other side, Merab could just have like a takedown, 1 or 2. And Aldo could be huffing and puffing, and it'll be like, yeah, Merab is ready for the title shot kind of performance. So it's just, I can see it either way. So I'm better off just passing. Let's move to the next fight, but first I'm going to address this comment. Ron Blair, my man, should try and get ScrapCapper on every UFC event with you. Yeah, I try. He's a very sharp guy, and I do enjoy breaking these fights down with someone else. I get more open and throwing ideas around. I think it's better for us and for the viewers as well, because 2 brains is better than 1. That's why me and Fimble Fight Pick started this podcast, and we called it Big Brain, because we like to joke around how we talk too much and get too deep into fights. So we're like, let's call it Big Brain. But two big brains are better than 1. So I always try to bring him in, but unfortunately, mate, he's saying he's having some bad issues, so internet issues. So I think that's it for ScrapCapper on this podcast. But I'll ask him his best bets, and then I'll get him to text him to me, and we'll go from there. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We got Costa versus Rockhold. I mean, typical fight where Rockhold's coming back after 3 years. Hasn't won a fight in so long. Been knocked out. It's kind of same vibes as Gustafsson. I see people playing Gustafsson the big dog because he should be a much better fighter than someone like Krylov, but maybe the same here. But no, I just can't advocate a play on Rockhold after being away for so long. Can't advocate a play on on a juiced Costa when, you know, he's more of like come forward, hit shots, brawl. I see people saying he's got, you know, you got to wait for the weight cut. Costa's on shape. He's absolutely shredded. There's going to be no problem with this weight cut this time around. Yeah, which just makes it his fight to lose. Yeah, he's a massive reach and height advantage. He's going to be eating some body shots and maybe check hooks on the way in. Romero dropped him with a check hook, but he's very durable. I kind of don't see Costa faulting to a body kick. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. The guy just seems very, very durable and just like everything. His whole style is based on eating as much damage and throwing as much volume and just getting up and constantly coming forward until his opponent falls apart. Oh yes, a fighter like that, kind of like Vittori as well. A fighter like that, I don't see him falling to a body kick. I think he's got very good conditioning. His whole regime is conditioning and pads and, you know, cardio, and he has to because he's so muscly. He needs to have insane cardio to use that style. Rockhold, man, I just taping Rockhold. He's always had the hands low, even against Branch. I forgot about that. Branch had him against the cage, and his hands were all the way down, and he was hitting left, right, and he looked like he was going to get knocked out by David Branch, which is, you know, and then got taken down, and he got up and he gave thumbs up to his coach. He's like, it's all good, and it's like, come on, man, it's not all good. You just almost got the knockout from David Branch. So yeah, he's always done that. Even after Bisbee knocked him out, he still can't fix that. Is he going to fix it after 3 years away? Maybe. Maybe he has fixed it. I don't know. He's got a long time to fix it, and now he's with Jason Perillo, the guy that helped Bisbee knock him out. So maybe he has fixed his holes, but too many questions. Costa by KO is minus money. I hate playing minus money unless it's something like Lord against Sam Alvey or, you know, McKinney against whatever. Unless there's still value in it. Costa's not a one hit puncher. It just breaks you down with body shots and pressure until you fall apart. Rockhold, I don't think Rockhold's chin is too bad. He just gets cracked by big hitters, you know, Romero, Jan, etc. So yeah, I don't know much to play here. Just recently I thought about the live betting aspect. You know, I think Costa might have not the greatest round one while Luke is fresh. On his back, Costa's going to stand up straight away. He's a really good scrambler. You know, as soon as Romero took him down, as soon as Vittori took him down, he stood up. The problem is maybe Rockhold has a different kind of game, man. He's very strong and his wrestling is crap and looks for body locks, but when he gets on top, he's just straight to hooks in and flattens you out and straight to mount. You know, it's going to be hard to scramble up from that against Costa, you know, from Costa's side, which is a bit worrying, but, you know, I don't know. I wish I had ScrapCapper here to kind of throw some ideas, but I think he doesn't like anything on this fight either. So yeah, let's not waste too much time on it. Let's move on. And we got the main event, which is Usman versus Edwards 2. Yeah, I know for a fact that ScrapCapper has Usman Edwards here. You know, the odds are a bit crazy. There probably is value in Leon. Leon is a great fighter. He's underrated. He shouldn't be this much of an underdog against anyone. You know, even someone as good as Kamaru Usman. ScrapCapper, I know his theory was, you know,
okay.
Sorry about that. My Siri just turned on for some reason. Yeah, I know ScrapCapper's theory is that these odds, you know, Usman is Edwards only has 30%, and that's wide, right? It's, you know, Kamaru is hittable. He can't wrestle for 5 rounds. Leon is just well-rounded, man. He's great striking, southpaw, athletic, good power. The only problem is he doesn't use it much. He's more of a sharpshooter, and he doesn't put stamps on rounds. You know, it's why he had a split decision with Gunner, even though it was clear 29-28. You know, it's why he left Diaz in the fight for 5 rounds, even though he probably could have finished him out of there. Gets taken down by RDA, even though he's a much more undersized fighter. I know he said he's improved his wrestling, but he still has those holes. He's not the perfect fighter. The best he looked was in round 1 against Bilal, and I would have liked to see how that fight would have played out in 5 rounds. But something tells me Bilal would have still had some good spots, because Leon always allows fighters to have good spots, just the way he fights. You know, he's a decision fighter more often than not. He just wants to win a clean technical fight. And yeah, that might be good against Kamaru, but if Kamaru just says F this and starts pressuring, he's got the power, he's got the athleticism. I don't think he can wrestle for 5 rounds, like Jay said. ScrapCapper, sorry, keep calling him Jay. His name's Jay on Discord. But yeah, I do think that he can cage hump and get a lot of control time and maybe get one. I don't think he needs to wrestle for 5 rounds. He can just wrestle for 2 rounds and win clear 2 rounds like that, and then see how he goes in the striking department in the other 3. But like I said, I do think it's wide, but just the tape didn't fill me with much confidence on Leon. If anything, I'm probably going to have a tiny sprinkle on Leon decision. That's great odds. Great odds, and if the fight ends up being closer than the odds indicate, which I think it will, especially early. We've seen Usman get wobbled by people like by Kobe and whatnot. He is hittable. If the odds narrow, then I'll add a little bit of live bet and get some profit either way. But yeah, pretty much a pass fight. Tiny sprinkle on Edwards' decision if you're feeling it. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Not much I like. I don't like the overs. The overs are juiced. I've been burned before on the overs in the Usman fight. The man's got power. I don't want to risk it. Even though Edwards is durable, he has been dropped by Barbarena, has been dropped by people before and hurt. Diaz of all people. So I don't want to force it. If anything, Edwards' decision is the play here. Small. It's the only value play. All right, that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I think we had the most comments ever live, so I appreciate it. Hopefully the fan base grows, slow and steady. Subscribers grow. Breakdowns will get better. Thanks to ScrapCapper for joining us. He had a great night great day on the last card. Absolutely killed it. He's got good insights. I know he's from what I gather when we talked, he was big on Tybura. Pedro, Hunsucker, I think he had a tiny sprinkle of Hunsucker round 1. There's not much value anywhere else. Pudilova, Wu, he agreed with me that it was dog a pass for Wu. I don't know if he had any commission to actually play her. Aldo Merab, I actually have no idea, and I would really like to hear his thoughts on that fight. Costa Rockhold, I know there wasn't much there that he liked, and he's definitely on Leon Edwards. He doesn't think there's that Usman covers 30%. So yeah, and also we got the competition. Don't forget, put your favorite bet in the comments. Chance to win $50. I've already PayPal'd 2 people, 2 winners. Every week there was a winner, so that's why I dropped it to $50 instead of $100. It's just too much money. Too much money to give up every week. Even though I'm living off gambling, so I don't know if people know I do this full time. So I've got plenty of money to pay the bills and bankroll. Like I didn't quit my job until I was 100% certain. So it's not a problem. But yeah, $100 every single week. It is burning a hole in my pocket. So $50, I'm going to keep doing it. Put your best bet. Better than minus 200 odds. Don't edit your comment because I can see it. Don't change the line last minute. Also, if you edit it, it might void your date. Who posted first? Money line, over, anything, props, anything. Just better than minus 200. You have to be subscribed. I'll check. Otherwise, you're not eligible for the money. And then I'll pick the winner. All right. I think ScrapCapper is giving me his bets, so I'm just gonna tell you right now. All right. So Tybura decision. That's his value side. Pedro, he's passing. Hunsucker round 1, stab. Wu Pudilova, he's passing, but he said Wu line that I got was good. He thinks Aldo is a clear pre-fight side versus Merab. Same as Santos, Gordon. He thinks you can live bet. Merab if Aldo kind of gasses a bit. Costa by demolition, but he can't play the juice, or on the KO prop, kind of same sentiment. And Usman rightful fave, but a bit wide. He's small on Leon, and he likes to go to decision. So yeah, pretty much called it. So yeah, those are his picks. Ron Blair, cheers mate. Appreciate the beer. Hopefully we can be drinking to some profit on this weekend. And yeah, that's it for me guys. I don't want to talk too much. Hopefully you'll see me in a day or so. I'm going to do PFL breakdown. I left it to last minute because after weigh-ins there's always cancellations, so I don't want to have a useless podcast. But I'll see you in about a day or so. Good luck.